Principiantes B, página 38. Younde goes to town. Once in the country of Akim, in the hills far from the coast, there was a man named Younde. He was a simple man who farmed and hunted like the other people in his village. He often heard about the big town of Accra by the ocean, but he had never seen it. He had never been farther from his village than the river. But one day Younde had to go to Accra. He put on his best clothes and took his knife and put it in his belt. He wrapped some food in a cloth and put it on his head and started out. He walked for many days, and the road was hot and dusty. After a while, he was out of his town, out of his country, and people didn't speak his language anymore. He came closer and closer to Accra. There were many people and donkeys on the road, all going to town or coming back from town. Then he saw a large herd of cows grazing by the edge of the road. He had never seen so many cows in his life. He stopped and looked at them in wonder. There was a little boy herding the cows, and he went up to him and asked, "Who is the owner of these cows?" But the boy didn't understand because Younde spoke Akim, and the boy knew only the Ga language. So the boy replied, "Minu," which meant, "I don't understand" in the Ga language. "Minu? What a rich man he must be to have so many cows," Younde said. He continued his way into the town. He was very impressed with everything he saw. He came to a large building and stopped to look at it. It was made of stone, and it was very high. When a woman came by, Younde spoke to her. "What a tremendous house," he said. "What rich person can own such a building?" But the woman didn't understand Younde because he spoke Akim, and she spoke the Ga language. So she replied to him, "Minu," which meant, "I don't understand" in the Ga language. "Minu? That man again," said Younde. Younde was overcome. No one in his village was as wealthy as Minu. And he went farther into town. As he went farther into town, he saw more wonders. He came to the market. It covered a space larger than all the houses in Younde's village. He walked through the market and saw women selling things that were rare in his village, like iron pots and iron spoons. "Where do all these things come from?" Younde asked the little girl. She smiled at him. "Minu," she replied. Younde was silent. Everything was Minu everywhere. Younde finished his business in Accra, wrapped the food in his cloth, and started home. When he came to the edge of town, he saw a great procession, and he heard the beating of drums. He came close and saw it was a funeral. Men were carrying a coffin and women were crying. "Who is this person who has died?" Younde asked one of the men. "Minu," the man answered. "What? The great Minu is dead?" Younde said. "Oh, poor Minu. He had to leave all his wealth behind. He has died just like an ordinary person." Younde continued home, but he couldn't get the tragedy of Minu from his mind. "Poor Minu," he said over and over again. Poor Minu. Esta lectura traída a usted por asesoríasacadémicas.com.mx.